Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video we are going to be doing another drugstore makeup tutorial, and today's company or brand that we're focusing on is Priceline. If you guys are one of my international followers, Priceline is basically a company or drugstore that is available pretty much everywhere in Australia, I believe, or at least most major cities and towns have a Priceline, and they stock pretty much all the major drugstore cosmetic brands. I've got a new eyeshadow palette and lipstick to try out. So this is from Revolution and this is from the Friends collection. So cute. Here's a little snippet from my Instagram. I did show this on Instagram stories, but yeah, I'm going to be using this palette for the eyes and I'm going to be using this lipstick for obviously my lips. Alright, so I'm going to start off first by priming my eyes. I've got the Colorstay full coverage concealer in a light medium. I am going to be wearing this makeup out, so I'm not going to go too crazy because I don't want to get too many stares. So let's move on to the eyeshadow palette. So I'll give you guys a quick overview of what we have here in terms of the color selection. First, let's talk about the palette. I really like the design. It's one of those click things that I don't know what they're actually called, but you get the idea. Open up the palette and you've got a decent size, like a really decent size mirror. Okay, I want to make this look a little bit fun, still 90s but not too out there, so I think I'm going to start with the shade Joey as a transition shade. So this is like a nice pink toned shade. I'm just going to run this pretty much all over. This, from what I can tell, is a matte shade. I was initially going to go for like a really 90s look with this, but I don't know if I will be able to, just because I started with Joey, which is that pink shade. Don't think a lot of 90s looks used a lot of pinks. I think from memory, from what I have seen, a lot of the 90s makeup looks tend to be quite cool toned. And honestly, I think this palette has a lot of warmer tones in it, so a little bit confused in that, but that could just be my interpretation of 90s makeup. I didn't really wear makeup in the 90s. I think I was still a child back then. I was born in 1990, so yeah, by the end of the 90s I was obviously just like turning 10, so I have no idea what makeup really was. I'm basically just going off what I remember as a child and also what I see on social media and online, what 90s makeup looked like. Right, next I'm going to be grabbing the shade Mr. Gello, which is this shade here. To me it looks like a purpley brown shade, so I think this is going to complement that shade Joey on my eyelid. Yeah, it's definitely more purple toned, which I'm definitely digging. I will say I wish that Mr. Gallagher was a little bit darker, just because it's a pressed pigment and it does look fairly dark in the pan, but translating on the lid it's not very dark, if that makes sense. I don't know, maybe because it kind of looks like a Natasha Denona palette, I'm kind of expecting Natasha Denona quality. That's just probably me, but it's a decent palette, don't get me wrong. Just gonna use that shade, I'm just gonna use that brush that I used for Joey just to blend the two shades together. That way I don't have any harsh lines. I mean, technically you're supposed to use a clean buffing brush, but I'm quite lazy, so I'll just use the same one that I used earlier. Okay, what should I put on my eyelid? I do want to keep this quite similar in tone though, so choices, I think Mr. Gallagher, or Mrs. Gallagher, sorry, and Emma. I feel like they complement this look quite well. I might go with Mrs. Gallagher because it is daytime. I do want slightly daytime appropriate. So this one to me looks like it's a shimmery shade. Pat this on. Ooh, okay, that's a nice pink shade. I think in the pan it kind of almost looks like a rose gold, but on my eyelid it's translating more as, oh, actually it still kind of looks rose gold, but I feel it leaning more towards pink, if that makes sense. Like, you know those rose gold iPhones? Like that's the kind of color that I'm getting from this. Just grabbing a liquid liner. This one is from Maybelline. This one is the Hyper Easy liquid liner. All right, I'm going to give my eyes a bit of a break. This is how I do my makeup. I'm going to now go ahead and grab a primer, prime my face. This one is from Covergirl. This one is the TruBlend Business Based Skin Primer in Skin Smoothing. I just like this because it sort of like fills in my pores, but it doesn't feel like one of those silicone primers. So if you guys don't like silicone slippy sort of like primers, definitely check this one out from Covergirl. To me, it just feels like a normal moisturizer. I get a little bit of hydration on top of like that pore smoothing, so like appearance. Though I do feel like it's not as effective as like those silicone-based primers. I feel like silicone-based primers are just really good at filling in things. But this is a good alternative if you guys don't like that, like I said. So I am going to do a little bit of color correction. I'm going to skip through this. If you guys would like to watch me do a demonstration on this, I do have a video on how I color correct, which I will link on the screen for you guys. Alright, moving on to foundation, I'm going to be using an oldie but a goodie. This one is by Maybelline. This one is the Matte and Poreless foundation. Honestly, one of my favorites from the drugstores. It's definitely one of those foundations that's a little bit, for me, on the lighter side of things. I prefer fuller coverage sort of makeup, but this is definitely giving me more medium, but it's definitely buildable, so I don't really mind that. And the shade is pretty good, so I'm using the shade 228 Soft Tan. If you guys would like a foundation reference point, definitely check out the description box down below. I'll list down some of my foundations from the most common brands. The only problem that I really have with this foundation is it doesn't come with a pump. If it came with a pump, it would be amazing. I'm sure everyone says that, but yeah. Otherwise, the formula in this is really good. It like compares to a lot of the higher end foundations that I use. And this foundation might be a little bit dark for me at the moment because I haven't been getting a lot of sun. Bring the foundation down my neck. Just gonna bring it down my neck a bit. Concealer, I'm going to be using the Fit Me Concealer in number 20 Sand Sable. This one, I feel like it's a little bit lighter than what I would normally go for these days. The Fit Me range, honestly, I think it's really underrated. I think when it first came out, people were all about it, but now people have kind of like forgotten about it, I feel. You know, I feel like if you're like tanned to slightly deeper skin tones, I think you can find a shade for yourself here. I don't think all Pricelines carry all shades though. Alright, to set the base, I have got two finishing powders again from Fit Me. I just love this range. So I've got the loose finishing powder in number 10 and number 20. I use 10 underneath the eyes and I use 20 for the rest of the face, just to give myself a faux filtered effect. These days I like using setting brushes, so this one is a setting brush from Real Techniques. This is the number 402 brush. I believe you get these in sets. I don't think you can get this individually. Correct me if I'm wrong. Here's a palette that I haven't used in forever. I tend to hoard things, so. This one is from NYX. This one is their Highlight and Contour Pro palette. This is such a good palette. Again, another brand that I feel like a lot of people have kind of forgotten, NYX. Like, it used to be all the rage. Now, like, yeah, I don't really hear a lot of people talking about it. Again, a really good palette and really good for those people that really like contouring. I love, love, love contouring. I feel like a lot of the times when I'm filming or when I'm taking photographs, the lights just really wash me out, so I feel like I really need to contour. But in like my everyday life, I don't really feel like I need to contour. I feel like when I just do my bronzing, my blush, it kind of gives me the dimension that I need. It's only really on camera that I feel like I look a bit flat. Alright, for blush, I have got the Rimmel London Maxi blush. Everything is like covered in powder. This one is in the shade Exposed. One of my favorite shades. It's like a dusty rose. I think really complements this look that I'm trying to go for. Next I'm going to do some bronzing. I'm just going to use that NYX palette. So I like to use this one just because it's a little bit warmer compared to the rest of the shades. I feel like the others are definitely contour shades, whereas this one you can use as a bronzer. Okay, so I'm going to go back into the Friends palette and I'm going to use one of the shades here for a highlighter. I feel like, I mean, I don't think highlighting was a big thing back in the 90s, so I'm going to use a highlighter anyway. So, as you guys can see, we've got three large pans here. I'm thinking I'm just going to use this one, Ugly Naked Guy, just because it's the lightest shade in here and it's got a really nice pink tone, which I feel like is going to complement the rest of the makeup I've got on. Kind of reminds me of Kitten from Anastasia from the Nicole Guerrero palette, if you're familiar with that one. It's very, very pretty. Ooh. It's definitely a chunkier shimmer. I mean, I don't know if you can, I don't know if this was designed to be used as a highlighter, but I'm using it anyway. Okay, so I'm just gonna quickly hop off camera, do my brows, put some lashes on. We'll do the lower lash line and we'll finish off with the lipstick and the setting spray. Okay, lashes and brows are on, and I was saying that I wanted to keep this like daytime appropriate. I feel like this is a little bit still dramatic, just because yeah, lashes. Anyway, the lashes I'm wearing are from Eyelure. These are the Give Me Lash. I'll have the number and everything down in the description box down below if you guys are interested. I'm just gonna find an eyeliner that I'd like to use. I've got this one from Rimmel. This one is the Soft Kohl Gel eyeliner in, I think this is just like a brown, like the label's like rubbed off. I just like putting a little bit of brown liner in the waterline and also bringing it onto the lash line, even for daytime looks, just to add a little bit of definition, especially if I've gone quite heavy on the upper upper lash line, like with lashes and everything. I feel like it closes off my eyes if I don't have anything on the lower lash line. And then I'm going to grab that shade Mr. Gallagher, this time on a small smudger brush. This one is from Revlon, I believe. Just a light dusting underneath. I'm not going to add that pinky shade, the Joey shade underneath as well. I just need a little bit of that shadowing. Just a light touch of lip lining. And then I'm going to grab the shade Rachel from Friends. This is definitely like the definition of 90s, I feel, in terms of lipsticks. I don't even know how to describe this color. It's very like, very cool tone mauve, if that makes sense. Normally I'm a big fan of mauve, but this is like a next level mauve, like almost like purple. Yep, if this makeup look wasn't 90s already, this lipstick just turned it 90s. Okay, now I'm going to use the Milani Make It Last Setting Spray. Oh, I forgot how strong that pump was. Alright, so there you guys go. That is my Australian drugstore makeup look using products obviously available at Priceline. Yeah, if you guys want the whole product listing of the stuff I use, check out the description box down below. I'll also have other videos that you guys might be interested in watching. But that's pretty much it from me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to check me out on Instagram, check out my other videos, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.